John and Mark, it's a pleasure to have you here today on the Simplifying Entrepreneurship Podcast. Welcome.
We're glad to be here.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, it's just a pleasure. You know, we've heard about your story and really wanted to get you on for a couple of different reasons that we'll go through here today. But, you know, I really want to start off with this idea around how did it all come about? What is John Sachs and how did you guys sort of get into the sock biz?
Well, ours started the way I think a lot of businesses do, right? It started from a bad place, from a point of pain.
Yeah.
Right? It's back in the fall of 2016. The business I had been helping run shut down overnight. So there I was, 58 years old. I'm an entrepreneur, which means I'm basically unemployable.
I know that feeling.
Right? So what am I going to do? So I'm starting some online businesses. And where were you?
I'm in school, Dad, and I went to I entered in Huntington High School.
So he's in high school. And here's something that people may not know. If you have a disability, you can stay in the public school system until you turn 21.
Okay.
So John was going to be turning 21. It
Yeah.
would be his last year. Then they were going to say, get out. And when you're in school, everything was right there in front of you.
Yeah.
But once you're done, you're on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And what were you looking at?
I look at job, program, and school. I don't like the option I don't like.
He didn't say anything he liked. And that's reality, too.
Yeah.
That there aren't a lot of good choices available for people with different abilities.
Right.
John Boy here, he is a natural entrepreneur.
Yes, I am.
Instead of that being a problem, he turned it into an opportunity. He said, if I don't see a job I want,
I want to create one. I want to make one.
he'll just make one.
Nice.
And
Love
then what
it.
did you tell me?
I said I want to go to a venue with my dad. A nice fellas that have been together.
Which is really cool. Right?
That's
But-
awesome.
Again, like a lot of entrepreneurs, John had a lot of ideas.
Yep.
Some of them were good ideas. So, like, what was your second idea?
A food truck. I come an idea
Food
from
truck.
the movie Chef and John Favreau.
Right.
A movie about fellas done bonding over a food truck.
That was pretty cool. And we're
Yeah.
thinking, what would we make? Where would we do it? But we ran into a problem.
We can cook.
Yeah. But then, right before Thanksgiving, you had your eureka moment.
I said, I want to sell crazy socks. Why socks? It's fun, it's colorful, and creative. I'll always let me be me.
So why socks? How'd we get into socks? John wore these crazy socks his whole life.
That's right.
Yeah.
This was his idea. And we figured if John liked them that much, other people must too. We could find our tribe. Right?
Nice.
So, in simplifying entrepreneurship, we went the lean startup route.
Yep.
We didn't spend time with the big business plan. We said, let's get something up, test it, and run. So we set up a store in the Shopify platform,
Mhm.
got a little bit of inventory. We're bootstrapping.
Yeah.
So you got to make do with what you have.
Totally
right?
get that.
So took out my cell phone. We made videos. Who was in the videos?
I am. I talk about socks. Socks off my socks.
Right?
Lots of socks.
And we'd share those on Facebook.
Cool.
And word began to spread. So what day did we open?
Oh, we opened on Friday, December 9th, 2016.
Right? We didn't know what to expect. We got what felt like a flood of orders. And most of them were local. We're on Long Island, a town called Huntington outside
Yep.
New York City. Most of them were local. So what did we do with those first orders?
First order is a home deliveries.
Right? We got red boxes, put the socks in the boxes. What else did we put in?
A second note from me and candy.
Right? John would write thank you notes, load it up. We poured Hershey's Kisses in, loaded up the car, drove around, knocked on doors, and how the customers respond.
I said love the sock and share on social media where I get the spread.
They took pictures. We had people reordering just to get John to come back to their house.
Yeah.
Right?
That's
But
awesome.
word began to spread. So that first month, we shipped 452 orders, had about 13,000 in revenue.
Wow.
And we knew, okay, we could do something with this. Right? But
you know, when you started there, John, and 13,000 in revenue off the bat, I mean, that's a huge first month for somebody. A really awesome, great start. How do you handle that sort of momentum off the bat when you're starting off bootstrapping and, you know, John's writing all these thank you notes, you're putting all the packages together, you're doing all this work yourself. What was the next step and how quickly did you have to change some things around?
The immediate step was to grab some people to help. So we turned to my bride, your mom, and said, guess what? It's a family business. And you're going to have to help. We hired a couple of John's classmates.
Nice.
And as we moved into January, you know, and here you're learning some things, right? You learn by doing.
Yeah.
Nobody buys anything in January because they spent all their money at the holiday. But we got a couple of people working part-time for us to help us kind of put in place the infrastructure that we needed. But you still wanted to grow. You kind of wanted to spend money behind the curve.
Yeah.
And you asked about that growth. We went from 452 orders in December to 186 orders in January. February, we introduced our first awareness socks. We put out our first press release, and we grew nicely. We shipped about 800, almost 900 orders.
Wow, that's great.
And then in March, we had our first viral experience. And everybody in marketing and business says, make us go viral.
Yeah.
Watch what you ask for. You may get it. Right? The first time it happened to us was on a Saturday. We were driving out Saturday night. You and I were going out to dinner. And, you know, if your listeners are, you know, familiar with Shopify, you get the Shopify app and you can put it on your phone, and the default, you get a little ding every time you get a sale.
Yeah.
My eldest says it's like a pheromone release. Ooh, we got a sale.
We have Shopify at our stores too. We own retail stores. So yeah, I get it totally.
All of a sudden it starts going ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
It's going crazy. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm looking at our Shopify stats on my phone. I'm looking at our Google Analytics. I can see it blowing up, but I can't figure out why. And in my hubris, I tell John, well, you know, must be that SEO work I've been doing. It turned out an online journal called The Mighty, which had done an email interview with us, put out a video. It's a simple video. It's a slideshow video.
Yeah.
Last I looked, I got 20 million views.
Oh my gosh.
So we went from doing 50 orders a day to over 1,000 orders a day.
Wow.
And it was fairly crazy. To give you one idea, we were in this old house that had been converted to office space. You know, they say they don't build them like they used to. Be grateful. It had low ceilings, undulating floors, tilted stairways.
Yeah.
And one night I went up to Best Buy, the local Best Buy, to get 2 more computers so we could have more packing stations, and recruited 2 of their employees to come work for us the next day because we just had to pack stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you get asked, well, how do you make that happen? We did a lot of things to put us in the place for that to happen. But then you got to have some luck.
Yeah.
And I think in entrepreneurship, we don't talk often enough about luck. And it's not luck like we're victims and things just happen.
Right, yeah.
You have to put yourself in that position. But you can do all the right things and not get that luck.
Right.
And then when it happens, you have to know how to take advantage of it. You got to be there. So that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah. Love that. And then from there, you know, our interviews are fairly short, Mark, and I want to get in a couple of other things about, the growth and stuff like that. But, obviously hiring quick. One of my questions is, how did you control the product side of things? Like, how did you go from shipping, a few hundred to these thousands of pairs all of a sudden? You must have had some ramp up issues and things like that with regards to that.
We had challenges in the beginning. We weren't making any of our own socks. So what we were doing, we were buying from other suppliers.
Yeah.
And we were relying on their quality control. We had vetted. The tables kind of switched. When we first started, nobody wanted to sell to us because they wanted us to show we had sales.
Right.
Well, how do you get sales if I don't have product?
Yeah, it's a catch-22.
And then everybody wanted in, and they saw, we were big customers. So that was part of it, but you got to have the right infrastructure.
Yeah.
So we had to have the right inventory process and systems. We moved into space so we could have a warehouse. Eventually, what we've done, and this was absolutely necessary, we found a strategic partner.
Nice.
That manufactures and sources socks. They do it for department stores and brand names because we needed that expertise. I saw last night there's a series on Netflix about La La Rue, and you could see this happening to them. They grew too fast.
Yep.
They didn't have good people. They didn't have processes in place, and the place blows up.
Yeah.
Right. You've got to have that bedrock and pay attention to the nuts and bolts so that you can grow.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I've created this model around, I call it the 4 Ps, and it starts with having that right product mix. The next thing is the right process. The next thing is the right people so that you can enjoy the best profit, right? And, ultimately we're business owners, so, we can enjoy a little bit of profit. But one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about here today too was the whole idea around a social enterprise. And I know you're really big on that. You give back to the community. You've got all sorts of different things going, but tell us a little bit about your social enterprise and what your thoughts are there and how that's a big part of your business, John.
It's an essential part of who we are. And I think it's increasingly important for all businesses. You have to have a purpose which is greater than ourselves. And that purpose can't be, we just want to make money. And don't get me wrong, John and I, we like to live indoors.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to make money. The profits become the fuel that let you do what you want to do. You have to have that purpose, and you have to know what your values are. And we've all just been through an experience, the pandemic.
For sure.
If we didn't have those in place, we would have been lost.
Yeah.
But when that happens, now you have your North Star, right? So for us, what does everything come down to? What's our mission?
Spreading happiness.
It's spreading happiness. And it drives everything we do, right? And here's the key thing. That has to be alive and vibrant in everything you do. So you walk in our place, you see a big neon sign, spreading happiness. But at every meeting, at every decision we make, will this spread happiness? So it affects the way we answer the phone, answer emails, our product selection, our marketing, our communication, everything we do, right? And that's essential because increasingly, customers are saying, who are you? Before I give you my money, what are you going to do with it? How do you treat the environment? How do you treat your employees? How engaged are you in the community? And it's not just your customers. It's your employees. It's our colleagues. 4 million people quit their jobs in April. 3.5 million people quit their jobs in May because people are now looking and saying, what am I doing? If all you do is have a job and show up and you want to get paid, you're not going to be happy. You're not going to like it. You're going to be disengaged. The percentage of disengaged workers is off the roof. But when you give people a purpose, when you say, we are here for a mission, and we're going to do this together. And everybody has to know how they are part of that mission. There's no cog in the machinery. It's transformative for your customers and for your employees. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I live and breathe that every day with the people that I work with from a coaching side of things too, as we set up those structures for that exact same reason. I mean, everybody in the organization's got to live that, right?
It's, and for us, at the end of the day, we're not really a sock store. The socks are the physical manifestation of our purpose and our story.
Love that.
Right? And if all we were was a sock store, we'd be in trouble, right? I told you we didn't do that business plan. Eventually, we went out and looked at the competitors, and I've counted.
Yeah.
There are 1 gazillion sock stores. If all we're doing is selling socks, you wouldn't be talking to us.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
But we're not about just, it's not just fabric. It's not just a transaction. It's an experience. It's building a community. It's building a connection.
Yeah. Love that.
That's what social enterprise lets you do.
I love the whole idea around social enterprise. And I've really enjoyed our chat today, Mark and John. Thanks so much for being a part of it here today. And I want everybody here to be able to reach out and, get a hold of you. Do you want to just let them know how to get a hold of you, or maybe how to buy some John's Crazy Socks?
Where can they get socks?
I got it at johnscrazysocks.com.
Right? And here's what you got to know. When you buy from us, you're helping us employ people with differing abilities. More than half our workforce has a differing ability. Yeah. You help us give back. I mean, here's a really cool thing, Pete. John, you're a Special Olympic athlete.
Yes, right? I am. I'm a Special Olympic athlete, and I'm really cool. And I really raise now $100,000.
John has donated $100,000 to the Special Olympics. We've raised over $450,000 for our charity partners. But most of all, you buy from us, we're going to make you happy, and you're going to help spread happiness.
Love that.
What's better than that?
Yeah. It's great. It's so great, and I'm so grateful, and it's showing what's possible.
Showing what's possible.
And showing possible.
So that, and people can get a hold of us. The general email for the company is service@johnscrazysocks.com. But real people read these emails. We read the emails. We respond to everybody. If we can help you, you let us know.
So thanks so much again, guys. It's been a wonderful conversation. So much learned here today. And I'm sure everybody listening has taken away a lot too. So make it a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.